I make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember LaBelle. We have a second by Councilmember Garrett. Did you make that, or was it you? I'm sorry. Okay, we have a second by Councilmember James. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Seven yeas, no nays, so we will have a public hearing February 26th. Next ordinance number?
3437.
Ordinance number 3437. It's an ordinance of the City of Morristown, Tennessee to establish travel enforcement regulations for city officials and city employees conducting official business. This is to set a public hearing for February the 21st, 2012. The City Administrator, Mr. West.
Yes, sir. This ordinance before you is the result, in some part, is a comment from the audit that you just received. We found that there had not been uniform application of policies across various departments of the city. I asked the Administrative Services Director to work with the city attorney to help us develop a uniform policy. The policy you have before you is derived from another impasse model. Again, the adoption of a travel policy requires review and approval by the Comptroller's Office. This policy is presented, is pre-approved by the Comptroller's Office. Therefore, we would recommend approval of the ordinance as presented.
Any questions of the City Administrator? Being none, Chair will entertain a motion. It's set a public hearing for February 21st, 2012.
Move for adoption.
Motion by Councilmember Center. Second by Councilmember Bivens. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Seven yeas, no nays. Public hearing is set for February 21st, 2012. Next ordinance number?
3438.
Next ordinance to come before council, being an ordinance of the City of Morristown, Tennessee, amending section 1-206 of the Morristown Municipal Code. This is to set a public hearing for February 21st, 2012.
I make the motion, we approve it.
There's no comments by City Administrator?
Just make a note that the existing code was adopted in, 1979, I believe. And where the current practice does not comply with city code, I was asked to review it. I proposed an amendment to the code that streamlines the agenda and kind of cleans it up a little bit.
Any questions of the City Administrator?
Who asked you to do this?
Councilman LaBelle brought the issue to my
LaBelle?
attention.
Well, this first I've heard about it, except to read about it a little bit in the year, but I want to say, shouldn't all council members be informed of something like that?
Well, if you don't like it, vote against it.
I don't
Sorry?
know.
If you don't like it, vote against it.
Okay.
I'll do that. I sure don't like it.
Are there any other questions for the City Administrator?
I think that the administrator's comment that we're not following what is in the code as it is, and so that this then incorporates what's in the code and then does move for the public comment. But if you do, and you have it in front of you there, if you look at the order of business per the code in 1979, there is no place, it goes call of order, roll call, reading of the minutes, grievances from citizens, communications from the mayor, reports from committees, members of the city council, and to others, old business, new business, adjournment. Current agenda does not allow council members a place on the agenda, so we're not going by that and other things.
But you're taking off the mayor's.
No, the mayor is going to be under city council. He's part of the city council.
He is the mayor.
He is
If you understand that.
He can speak first.
All right, at this point, if there are no more questions for the City Administrator, all right, then what we will do is entertain a motion.
You already have a motion.
The motion was out of order, it was before we had our discussion. Now, if you'd like to make it now, you
Tell
may
that
have.
this is an appropriate way to do it.
Well, I think the chair has recognized the city administrator to describe the ordinance, so hopefully.
After one other motion, I'll make a motion we approve it then.
Thank you. We have a motion from Council Member LaBelle. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Council Member Garrett. Is there any discussion by council members?
Yeah, I'd like to say something, you know, just like all these people come tonight and address their situation, how are they gonna address it if it's on the agenda? How are they gonna address it if we go on past it and they don't even get a chance till the last, it's too late? How do you do that?
I'll
think
address
y'all
that in my
trying to
comments
take-
if you'd like.
Do what?
I'll address that in my
But
comments.
I think y'all trying to take the rights away from the people, you know, the First Amendment's still good, you know? I think y'all trying to just take the comments away from the taxpayers and
What do you
voters.
think the public hearing? What do you think the public hearing part's about?
I believe that.
But what if it's not-
Council member had the chair, I had the
I
floor.
can't hear you because he's talking.
What if it's,
Well, I can't hear because you're talking.
it's
I'm
not
trying
on
to
the
get order to go.
You can let Gene talk? I
Yes,
can't hear him.
I wish you would talk to order, please. Thank you, Mr. LaBelle. You have the floor, Council Member Brooks. Thank you.
I just, like I said, I think you're taking away from all the citizens. I can't understand why y'all want to do that. Are you afraid of something, you know? I don't get it. Because now if it's a public hearing, they have a chance to say something. But if it's not, they don't have a chance till everything's voted on and so with. These people come tonight, they had a right. They had something really to share. And they got their way. I don't know what everybody's afraid of up here. I like to hear people speak. I like to hear the comments. I think y'all are wrong on that. But I think also council members are, there should have been a work session on this and we should have been involved.
All right,
Thank you.
Chair will comment. At this time, I have prepared a PowerPoint to explain to you exactly what is transpiring on this particular motion. If you'll look at your screens, it's a little hard to see, but anything that is in orange, okay, has really not changed. The items that are in green, if you can see green, it's sort of washed out, but I will bring them up to you. The comparison is the code agenda of 1979, which is on the left, and the proposed agenda changes brought before council today without a workshop on the issue. And the color codes are, there are 6 items in orange that actually there would be no change to, all right, for the proposed, all right, agenda. There are 4 items that are actually new. All right, the 4 items that are new would be the invocation, which is really not something we've been doing for decades. And then it would be the Pledge of Allegiance, which we've been doing for decades. And then it would be proclamations and presentations. And then the other new item of those 4 would be the city administrator's report. Now, those would be the 4 new items proposed under order of business under the new proposal. Now, there are also some items that would be either modified or changed or deleted. And those 3 modifications or removals would be moved to other locations or deleted. And they were left in black, if you'll look up there. Now, they removed the mayor's communication, item number 5, and I'm not surprised. Item number 6 on the code combines the mayor's remarks and reports from committees and city council members. So that would be the change, eliminating one, combining it with the others. All right. The thing that disturbs me is moving comments by the public to after business has been voted on. That means that there would be no public comments until after this council voted on the item. All right. But as usual, the devil's in the is actually in the details. If you would go to the next slide. The next slide is a I want to bring up what has been recommended. The proposed changes to the communication from the citizens, it moves public comments to after all votes on business, with the exception of public hearings, then they would have comment. It reduces time giving, and this time giving is from a memo that was sent to council members, and it's covered under general guidelines, and all of the council members have a copy of this. It reduces the time given to public comments down to 2 minutes from 3 minutes. This is less time for citizens' comments, again, after council has voted on the subject. We should be encouraging citizens to participate, not limiting. As elected officials, we should be listening to our citizens. The county commission, besides putting public comments at the front of the agenda, which I'm sure Mr. Well is aware of that, and giving 5 minutes to pre-registered speakers and 3 minutes for those who do not pre-register. County Commission also lets public speak at its committee meetings under the same terms as commission meetings. City Council does not permit public comments at work session. With these types of proposed changes that are recommended today, it is no wonder why citizens feel the public officials do not listen to them or even care to listen to them. What is being proposed is another contributing factor to the apathy that exists in our community today. It affirms that public officials do not want input from public. They want to get it, let it be, and after the body has passed the item, then we'll hear what you have to say. We should be ashamed if we even vote to have a public hearing on these proposed changes because of what it denies our citizens. If you would please go to the next slide. This is format number 2, one of several that was recommended by Ron Darden. It is not the final recommendation, but it gives you an example of how we could change the current 1979 code agenda. And if you would look, you'll see it has call to order, roll call, prayer, pledge of allegiance, which could be inserted, citizen comments about agenda items only, mayor's reports, council remarks, and you can insert after that the city administrator's report. Then it has old business. Citizens may comment on agenda items recognized by the chair, and new business, same comment. Citizens may comment on the agenda item as recognized by the chair, and then it has, in addition to commenting on those items, it has citizen comments in general. That's aside from specific comments. Then you have adjournment. Now, using this format, and this is what Ron Darden of MTS said, using this format, the mayor summarizes the agenda and asks if any citizens wish to comment on only the items on the agenda. They may do so at that time. During the meeting, when items of old business and new business come up for discussion, the mayor may allow citizen comments only on those items. At the end of the meeting, citizens are allowed to make comments on anything they wish. That would be under your public comments. So, the notice for citizen input into the agenda, not less, it's more, is on this particular format. Now, if you would please go to the next slide. This is the MTAS recommended, agenda. And it was by Ron Darden of MTAS. For those of you who do not know what MTAS is, it's the Municipal Technical Advisory Service. I'll tell you, we have so many acronyms in this business, it's hard to know, but that's what it means. And it's an agency of the University of Tennessee Institute for Public Service. MTAS provides technical assistance to cities and towns across the state of Tennessee. This is Ron Darden's from MTAS, September the 19th, 2011, recommended agenda. It is call to order, roll call, prayer, pledge of allegiance, and you can insert proclamations. Now this could be inserted after his suggested agenda. You could insert proclamations and presentations after the pledge. Then you have the mayor's report, then you have council's remarks, and then you could insert the city administrator's report after the mayor and council. Then you have old business. Citizen comments may be allowed on specific items being reviewed. New business. Citizen comments may be allowed on specific items being reviewed. Then you have open citizen comments. then you have adjournment. Ron's notes state that this format allows for significant citizen participation, but preserves the agenda as a business meeting. I recommend this format. Most citizens contact council members prior to and after meeting about special concerns anyway. I want you to notice that citizens can speak to items prior to the vote. This format was recommended by MTS. Where does the revenue come from to run this city? It comes from the taxpayers and it comes from the voters. I believe we owe them a voice in what's happening in our politics. We should have more input, not less. If you would please go to the next slide. I believe while we're addressing this, that we should also address our study sessions. And in this recommended by the MTAS, it also shows input from citizens, which at the time we do not. If we're going to look into changing the current format of our city council meetings, we should also look at changing our work session agenda to one similar to the one shown here that is recommended by MTAS. It allows for limited participation of citizens. I would hope that council will vote no on a public hearing and bring this matter before council when we have had an opportunity in a work session to study and discuss the proposed changes. That ends my comments. Are there any other comments? Being none at this point, please register. Now, what we're voting on is whether to pass this or not. Please register your votes. 4 yeas, 3 nays. Passes. All right, so we will set a public hearing for February 21st. Next item to come from council is adoption of ordinances and resolutions. We have none. And next would be the city administrator.
Unfortunately, I have a fairly extensive list. I'll try and get through rapidly if I possibly can. First item is to let the public know that we're going to have a special call meeting Monday, February the 13th. The purpose of this meeting is for 2 things. One is to consider wastewater or sewer rates, and the second is to hear advice from legal counsel. The advice from legal counsel will be in executive session. That meeting is set for Monday the 13th at 1 p.m. Following this meeting this evening, we have a work session that will have 2 topics. The first being the airport fixed-based operator contract and how we're going to proceed forward with seeking proposals for that, as well as to review the need for capital improvements in our sewer system. So we have a fairly meaty and extensive work session following this meeting. In your package, you'll note that there are some budget transfers. These are technical transfers made under my authority, which I must report to you. They involve 2 areas. One is stormwater, one is traffic devices. They're basically taking care of accounting code errors and allocating numbers to the proper accounts. They do not have a material effect on the way we do business. The 4th item I have on my list is guidelines for conduct of council meeting. As you just considered as an ordinance to change the formal order of business, I proposed and provided you a copy at your desk today, some proposed guidelines for conduct at the meetings. This is a draft proposal for your consideration. If you were so inclined, I would envision you adopting that by motion at your next meeting with the changes in order of business. And these guidelines will be published and available to the public prior to the meeting, just kind of laying out appropriate behavior and the way we conduct business. Council's aware we had a finance committee last week that reviewed our fiscal year 2011 audit report. A couple of major points that I wanted to underscore here for the public. First is that our sewer fund, after losing money for 2 years in a row, is finally finished in the black. We're turning the corner. As indicated earlier, we don't have what we need to meet some critical needs right now, but we have finally finished in the black for the first time in a while. That will allow us to stay in the good graces of the Finance Committee in Nashville. In the general fund, we had a significant turnaround. We're finally rebuilding our reserves. Those are what we use for cash flow and for emergency needs, so that is a more healthy general fund. And there were some minor management issues